Hey folks, how you doing? So, welcome to another Spectrum repair vid, and I say repair, I mean, we'll call it an attempted repair because, you know, who knows how this is going to work. Yeah, it's from a pile of computers that I bought quite a while ago, and they were apparently all tested as faulty, and I got them at a discount, so this is just another one. It's a 48K issue 2, I believe, and condition-wise, cosmetically, it's pretty good. There's no real scratches or dings in it apart from right at the front there. It looks like somebody's tried to lever up the faceplate. On the back, it's missing a couple of feet, but generally it's pretty good. But it's doing something a bit weird, so I'm going to try and capture it on the TV if I can get the camera to focus, and I'll show you what I mean. I have already been in this, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, this is an issue 2. And I went in and I did a composite mod for the video out because I couldn't get a display on it at all when I first got it, but that seems to have fixed that issue. But like I said, it's doing something strange, so I'm going to try and capture it on the screen and you'll see what I mean. Right, so I'm going to stick some power to it and hopefully this will focus. Yes, it does, and we get the 1982 Sinclair Research copyright message up, but you'll notice that it's beginning to corrupt. I don't know how well that's coming out on the camera. So it starts off okay, and then it actually starts getting worse as time goes on. And that's the same for anything that you type into it. Now, when I did the composite conversion, I had to unplug the membrane, and that instantly failed. So the keyboard's dead at the moment. But let me get a new membrane, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to try getting in a bit closer with the camera. You see, parts of the lettering are actually missing. And the keyboard membrane is dead. I can't type anything on it at the moment. But I have tried it with a new membrane, just plugged into the circuit board, and when you type something in, you get the same corruption. So it's not just the logo that's the problem, it's anything that you type into it. Screen's also looking a bit yellow as well, but that's fairly typical for an issue 2. That just needs the couple of potentiometers tweaking. But yeah, you see, it's most prevalent there. Copyright 1982, or that's what it should say. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Whether I've got I don't know. It could be a faulty RAM chip. It could be just straight up capacitors. I could have a ULA that's starting to fail. I don't know. I do know whenever I've had a membrane plugged into it and I've typed anything, I get the same corruption on the screen. When you reset it, it seems to clear, and then it slowly gets worse again. I don't know how clear that's going to be on the camera, but yeah, it's just weird. I tell you what, let me open this up. Let me get a membrane plugged in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's crack her open. Right, as I said, the membrane's disconnected. I did disconnect that and it just fell apart on me. I tried cutting the legs back to see if I could get it to work again, but it won't. And we have indeed got an issue 2. Now, let me get a membrane. And I just want to do this for testing purposes. I'm not going to leave it like this. Alright, let me just put power back to that again and we'll see what we get. Alright, so there we are. We've got our slightly corrupted message. If I just click the reset. Well, all I did there was press new. And oh, well, that's new. Wasn't doing that last time. It would let me type last time, but it's not even doing that now. Okay, so my flashing cursor's moved over there. Well, that's different. Let's try that again. Okay, it's reset and the logo comes back correctly and then starts corrupting again. Try that again. Oh, no, it's doing that weird buzzy thing again. That's when I try to reset it. Huh. Okay. Well, something's not happy, is it? Let's start with the basics. So just to have a quick look at the board, it is indeed an issue 2. I don't know if it came up well on the camera, but on the screen it is slightly yellowed, but that's not an issue. I can tweak that out with these trim pots here, so I'm not overly concerned about that. Some of the logic chips up here, they seem to be, well, there's 4 of them that are a Motorola brand, and I've never seen them used before, so I don't know whether that's just something that's been replaced in the past, or something that Sinclair got cheaply, who knows. What else of note? Yeah, it looks like it's had the DC mod made, which is a Sinclair recommended upgrade for the issue 2. I think it just makes the power supply circuit a bit more reliable, and I think it's less likely to cause damage if you inadvertently pull something off the expansion port. I think that's what that mod's for, but by all means correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I think what I'm going to do before I do anything else is recap the board. And yeah, I know, I do this with all machines, but I do it for a reason, especially with Spectrums, because the capacitors can be so faulty on these that simply changing them first can fix so many other problems. It's a bit like the equivalent of your IT manager telling you to turn your computer off and on again. It sounds like a cop-out, but honestly it does fix so many issues. So I think I'm going to do that first and see if we get any change, although I suspect it's got deeper problems. But at least we can eliminate something. We've eliminated a likely point of failure for a Spectrum, so I think, yeah, I'll get the soldering iron out and I'll pull these caps, get them swapped out, and then we'll see if there's any change in its behaviour. I probably won't bother filming it because trying to solder around the camera can be headachy at the best of times, and I've got so many videos where I've done that. So yeah, I'll just bring you back when it's done. So caps are all changed, and I've powered it back up, and the screen is a lot brighter and clearer, but the corruption is still there. So I didn't expect that to fix the problem, but it's confirmed my suspicions that it is not a capacitor problem. There's something else going on, so I think I'm going to try swapping the ULA out. I've got a couple of spares that I know are good, and they should be compatible with this revision. So let's give that a go and see if that makes any difference. Right, let's swap out this ULA and see if it makes any difference. Although I'm not optimistic that that's the issue either, but you never know. You never know. I've got one, it's out of another issue too. I know the ULA is good, and I think it should be compatible. So, because not all of them are. Failing that, I've got a ULA out of an issue 6, which I think is compatible with everything. Come on, out you come. I just want to be a bit gentle with them because they're so... they're kind of irreplaceable, aren't they, these chips now? So, well, apart from the second hand. Oh yeah, that's not been out for a long time. I have got a chip puller, but I find if you just get it started first with the screwdriver, they come a lot easier. I actually find it's less damage this way. There you go. So it's just, that's got it moving. There we go. Alright, let's see what that does. And nuts. No, I'm still getting the same corruption, so... yeah, in fact, if anything, I've got a bit of noise on the screen now as well. Is that socket making good connection? I'm pressing down and it seems okay. Maybe it's not quite compatible, I don't know. The board, the issue 2 board I took that ULA out of, didn't have the spider mod, whereas this has. So, and it is a slightly different revision, so maybe it's not completely compatible. Anyway, yeah, I'm still getting the same corruption, so I don't think it's the ULA that's the fault. It's gonna be... I don't think it'd be the video chip. I because I just don't think it'd work at all if that was the case. So it's got to be a RAM issue. I mean, it could be a ROM issue as well, but I'm leaning towards a RAM issue now. And I'm thinking, because I'm actually getting as far as getting to the copyright screen, that it's going to be an upper RAM issue. Don't know. They're my thoughts anyway. So plugged in the diagnostic cartridge, and that seems to be suggesting chips 3 and 4 of the lower RAM might be at fault. But it could also be an issue with the same chips and the upper RAM, 3 and 4, that are causing a problem for the data line. And as I'm getting to the startup screen, that's what I'm suspecting. Could be either, I don't know. I think I need to start pulling those chips anyway. I'll start with, I don't know. Do you know what? I'll start with the lower RAM. I'll pull the 3rd and 4th chip out. I'll test them and I'll see what the score is. If they test okay, I'll refit them. I'll test the upper RAM. Let's do that. I think what I'll do before I do anything else, actually, before I start pulling chips, I'll take some voltages and just make sure the power circuit's working correctly, because that could be causing all sorts of problems if that's out of whack. And probably something I should have checked earlier, but never mind. We are where we are. Right, if I can do this around the camera without shorting something out, that will be amazing. That should be the 12 volt rail, and that looks a little bit low to me. Five volts looks good. Oh. We might not have -5 volts. Hang on. We may have an issue there. Or am I probing the wrong side of the chip? Probably. No. I think we're missing the -5 volt rail. Interesting. Yeah, okay, let's get that unplugged. I had a look at the power circuit and I found a fault. So the first thing I did is I pulled TR4 and TR5. I've tested TR5, that's fine. I've tested TR4, not fine. It's dead. In fact, when I put it on the meter, it's reading as 2 resistors. So that's most definitely failed. So that is a TZX650, which is no longer available. But that's not a problem, because what I've got here is a TZX651, which is available. You can still buy them. I have a little stock of them. And it's it should be a drop-in replacement. So it should go straight in and it should do the same job. So I've just connected the replacement transistor up to my tester. So this is the new one, the TZX651. And we'll just test that. And yep, that's reading absolutely fine. So NPN transistor, all working. Let me just connect up the one that I pulled off the board and I'll show you the difference. So there you go. It's dead, Jim. Yeah, it's not working properly at all. So that is a fault, and that's probably what's happened to me -5 volts. Now I'm a little concerned because those lower RAM chips, those 4116s, they need 3 specific voltages. So they need the 5 volts, the -5 volts, which we were missing, and a 12 volt. And if any of those aren't there, it can cause a lot of irreparable damage to the chips. So I'm kind of hoping that's not happened, but it may well have done. In fact, it probably has. And I'm just hoping the damage hasn't gone through all the chips. But again, it probably has. I don't know. Anyway, what I'll do, let's get this new chip in. Let's get this new transistor in. And let's see if I get my -5 volt rail back. I'm hoping the camera will focus okay. But yeah, I've replaced TR4 and I've powered it back up again, and all that screen corruption has gone. I'm getting... The colour balance is a little bit off, but that's just an issue 2 thing. I can tune that out, that's not a problem. But yeah, the logo looks correct now. And I've just tested it with the multimeter, and I've got me -5 volts is now working. Me 12 volts, which was floating around, it was floating a bit low before at 10, is now a solid 12 volts. And the 5 volts, well, that was fine anyway. Yeah, that's looking really good. And I'm wondering if I've been extremely lucky and I've got away with no chip damage. You never know. Let me plug my diagnostic cart back in, and we'll cycle through the test, and we'll just make sure that that's okay. Okay, diagnostic cart check. So yeah, the colour's definitely off, so the cart is just cycling through now. Let me just focus that a bit better. Nah, still doesn't like something. Yeah, I think it's finding errors there still. Alright, seems to have finished running the test, and it does seem to be indicating chip number 4 has died. So I suppose that'll be my next job. Pull that chip out and get it on the tester. So, current state of play. So the diagnostic cartridge was telling me that chip number 4 was dead. So what I did is I went to pull the chip 4 in the upper RAM. The reason being that I was already getting the copyright message, so I figured that the lower RAM should be okay. So what I did is I went ahead and I desoldered chip 1 because I was counting the wrong way. I thought it was chip 4, I desoldered chip 1 because I'm an idiot. That tested fine, so I thought, oh well, there must still be a problem with the lower RAM. Desoldered chip number 4 in the lower RAM. That tested fine. I then realised my complete cock up, desoldered the right upper RAM chip, and yeah, that indeed was faulty, so I've replaced it with a known good chip. In fact, I've just put it in the chip tester and that's fine. So I'm starting to feel a bit more optimistic now that we might have solved the problems with this machine. I haven't tested it yet, but I think we're going to do that now. Right, let's put the power on. The cartridge is in, so let's see what we get. A very fuzzy picture. So that's going to need fixing. So that should just be an adjustment, but I won't worry about that just now. Let's just see if we've solved the RAM issues. So the cartridge is just cycling through, right down there. Alright, now it's indicating chip 3 is faulty, so we're not done yet. So I'm going to pull the upper RAM chip. I'll try and get the right one this time. And we'll test that. I really thought that would have been it, but no, we continue. Right, chip 3's been pulled. It's in the tester, so let's see what we get. What? That was quick. I don't trust that. It's that failed a bit too quickly for me. That. Let's make sure I've got a good connection. Oh, maybe it is dead. I don't know. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's seated properly now, and that's coming up fail every time. Sometimes you can get a false fail because this isn't the best socket. So it's worth just persevering and making sure you've got a good connection, but no, I think that's a dead chip. Okay, let me go and pull one off the parts board and we'll get that tested and fitted. That's another chip desoldered, so I've got the replacement chip in the tester now, so... Well, it's not gone straight to fail this time, so I'm optimistic. I'm sure it'll be fine. These can take a while to test actually, so I'll probably speed this up a little bit. Oh, come on! Let me just try reseating it a little bit. I've just desoldered this one. Give me a break. Try it again. Alright, guess I'm pulling another chip then. Alright, hopefully this one will work. So this is another one I've just pulled. Fingers crossed this time. Oh, come on! Ugh. This is becoming really annoying now. Please just tell me it's something wrong with the tester. Finally! I found a good chip after, yeah, pulling a few. But that's what you get, isn't it, when you buy these scrap parts boards. They're going to have faults, aren't they? I just didn't expect that many chips to be faulty. Okay, that is a scavenged, decent RAM chip from my parts boards. Let's get that installed. Let's see if that fixes our issue. I hope I don't have any more faulty RAM chips, because honestly I don't know if I'm going to be able to source them. But let's power it up. Let's see what we get. Let it run through its cycle. If it goes through the cycle and doesn't throw up an error. We'll see. Aha! It won't focus, but it does say upper RAM OK, lower RAM OK. ROM test is OK, it's testing the interrupts. And fingers crossed that's got it. Okay, what have we got? We'll attempt to... That's just not going to focus at all, is it? We'll attempt to page inspect from ROM. It has done, and hey! As far as I can tell, that is now fully functional. So we had 2 dead RAM chips and a dead -5 volt line, which didn't kill the lower RAM. I think I've been very fortunate there, actually. So, whew, yeah, I think I got lucky there. Yeah, it's fully functional. So what's to do next? I've still got to sort out the picture because the colour's all over the place. I've got to fit the membrane into the case, clean the case up, put some feet on the case, all that sort of cosmetic crap. But I'm gonna. It's like nearly 11 o'clock where I am now, and I'm going to bed because I've got work in the morning. I just wanted to get the board working, and I think I have. I think that is now fully functional. So barring a little bit of a tune-up, which I'll do when I get a bit more free time, which will be a day or so for me and a few seconds for you, I'm going to call it a night just for tonight. So I will pick this back up in a day or so. Okay, it's another day and I've finished my work for the day, so let's see if we can't get this thing finished. So yesterday I've got the computer itself working. It all seems to be okay, although I've not connected the keyboard to it yet, so I guess we'll see. What I do want to do now though, and I do it with all my Spectrums that go in the rubber keyed cases, is I'm going to take out the voltage regulator and I'm going to stick in one of these switch-in regulators just so I can get rid of this heatsink and keep the case temperature down. I don't worry about it so much on the plus cases, but these, yeah, they do tend to cook a little bit, so it's not going to do it any favours. It's certainly not going to help with the longevity of the system, so let's get that swapped out. I'll save you the whole case cleanup montage, but suffice to say I have washed it and cleaned up the faceplate and all the glue that was holding the original faceplate down, so that's all been done. So this can go straight in now. Nice clean case. Nice brand new membrane. It's my last one actually. I need to order some more. I've got other machines to fix. There we go. One keyboard. I've put some tape on the back of the faceplate. I'll just peel that off and I'll get this stuck down. And I've stuck just a little bit of tape on the computer as well. Take my glasses off. So let's try and get this on nice and straight. Bearing in mind the faceplate is a little buckled itself, it's not perfect, but there we go. I don't think that looks too bad. There. Let's get this all hooked up. We should be done. There we go. I'll just get that button down. And we're still missing 2 feet, but that's okay because I have an entire roll of foot. So, yeah. I'll just approximately cut this, get that stuck in. One there. There we go, 2 new feet. So, get this out the way. And yeah, nice and steady. Cool. Hopefully it still works. I haven't tested it with the keyboard like I said, but I suppose now is as good a time as any to do that. So all plugged in and set up and ready to go, and I've got me Div MMC plugged in as well, so I thought we'll test it with a couple of games. I did say yesterday that the colour balance was a little bit off, and I told you there was a couple of trim pots that needed tweaking. Well, I kind of did that off camera yesterday. It took like literally 3 seconds. It was just the slightest nudge with the screwdriver, and the picture was fine. So it wasn't even worth me filming that, really. I've done it in other videos as well. If you're curious about that, and there's plenty of other people on YouTube who've done similar adjustments with the issue 2 colour issue, so there's probably not much point me showing it again. Anyway, we're plugged in. Is that going to focus? Yes, for once. The keyboard seems to be responsive. Ooh. Yeah, the keyboard membrane, the new one, seems to be working just fine. So, let's try a couple of games. What have we got? I've put like 100 million on here, so... I am actually using a Master System control pad because, honestly, I just like it. But, let's see, what have we got? Let's go for Robin Hood. Yeah, typical issue 2 Spectrum speaker, very low. But to be honest, that's not a bad thing in my opinion. So, do we want music? Hell no. Want sounds? Yes I do. Do I want a joystick? Yes I do. And I'll call it Kempston. And yeah, we're off. And this seems to be running just fine. This is a game I tend to play with the keyboard, so it does not feel very natural playing it with the joystick, but I am just testing. Anyway, let's try something else. I don't know what. It's a classic. Ha. Seems fine. There's a little bit of flickering going on with the border, but that seems just to be just this game. It seems to do it no matter what spectrum I'm using. In fact, on the later revisions, it seems a bit more visible. But anyway, yeah, that seems to be working fine. One more. One more. I don't know what. It's another classic. Bit of zip zap. I did actually start to make a video on this at one point, and it's been sort of half done for about a year now. I don't know, do other people do that? You start on your YouTube videos and then you think, oh, I'll get around to finishing that, and then you never do. This is one of them. I should really finish it one of these days, but it's a cracking game. But it seems to play fine. Yes. I think we can call that a successful repair. Let me reset it. So there you go. It's all fully functional. It does make me wonder, though, why it failed in the first place. So I know TR4 blew, and that's why I wasn't getting me minus 5 volt line. And 2 of the RAM chips had failed as well. Now the RAM chips, if it was the lower RAM, then I could have blamed it on the voltage issue. But it was the upper RAM, and they just used a standard 5 volts, and that supply wasn't being interrupted. So I don't think the 2 issues are related. So I think it's had 2 separate issues. TR4 can blow, as I understand it, because of devices being plugged and unplugged through the expansion port. That's a fairly common one. It does do a lot of damage. It could have just gone with age. I mean, this thing must be 40 years old now. You can also have a problem where the lower RAM is starting to fail. It starts pulling more current than it should. And that can cause a strain on the power circuit, and that can cause TR4 to blow. I don't think that's the issue, because the lower RAM seems absolutely fine in this machine, and the chips don't seem to be running hot or anything like that. The other thing that can cause it is dodgy capacitors. So that can put a strain on the system as well. So I think what I'll do is we'll just have a quick look at the capacitors that have pulled out of it, and just see how in or out of spec they are, and just see if, maybe that was a contributing factor to the failure. Who knows? Got my tester out. I've got a pile of the caps that came out of that machine, so let's have a look. Alright, we'll start with a 22 microfarad capacitor. At least that's what it says on the tin. So let me just get that hooked up. Come on. Okay, we're starting with a 22 microfarad capacitor. Let's give that a go. And what's that coming out at? 36. Jesus. Yeah. So we're massively out of spec. Absolutely massively. Let's try something else. Let's try try a bigger capacitor. So this one should be 100 microfarads. Let's just get that hooked up. Which I am doing, but you can't quite see it. Give that a test. $88. So it's gone down a little bit. I mean, still within 20%, so I wouldn't say that was horrendous. Although the ESR is quite high. What else have we got? What's this one? 1 microfarad. There we go. Oh, it's gone off. Get back on. .1. Again, it's not horrendous, but the ESR is pretty high. So far we've only had one horrific one. Well, then that's all it takes, isn't it? That's another one. Let's try another 22. So another 22 microfarad. And what have we got? 33.9. Again, that's horrendous. It's well out of spec. What's this one? It's another 22. There's a lot of those. I don't know how accurate this tester is either, but I mean, it'll give you a good sort of baseline, you know. 38. Yeah, I mean, that's not great, is it? Should be 22, we're getting 38. What's that? That's another 100. There we go. $119. Yeah, it's not great. It's just within 20%. Personally, I would change it, but I don't know, some people might say that's okay. What's that? It's another 1 microfarad. 1.2. So yeah, that's it's a little bit out of spec. It's not great, that one, actually. Let's do one more, because I don't see the point in testing every single one. It's another 22. These seem to be the worst. $38 again. Okay, yeah. So it's the 22s that are really suffering, but I mean, none of them are great. And whenever you've got out of spec capacitors like that, you are putting a strain on the circuit. I mean, this is my 2 pence worth, and by all means feel free to disagree, but I just think there's not that many of them in a Spectrum, and you know, if you've got the right equipment, they're fairly easy to change, and they're fairly cheap to buy as well. So I would say, why run the risk, especially when, you know, risk of damage is your power circuit failing, which in turn blows out the lower RAM. It's going to get an expensive repair pretty quickly. So why not take the time, if you've got the skills and the inclination, just swap the caps out. The original capacitors in Spectrums, they were garbage from the outset, I think. I mean, they were cheaply made computers, and the fact that some of them are knocking on for 40 years old now hasn't exactly made them more reliable. But yeah, I mean, I can't guarantee that that's what did cause the failure with that computer. It could have been anything, really. I don't know the history of it. It could have been somebody pulling out a joystick interface while it was powered on. It could have just failed through age. I don't know. But that won't have helped bad caps. And if you swap them out, then you're kind of future-proofing it. You're eliminating a potential failure going forward. I don't know. That's my 2 pence worth. I mean, you know, if it's your machine, you do what you want to do with it. But, and of course, I'm not an electronics expert. In fact, I have no real electronics qualifications whatsoever. I'm kind of learning as I go along. So don't take anything I say as gospel, but that's just my opinion, and that's all it is. Take it or leave it. Anyway, we have another working Spectrum. I'm quite pleased. And it even looks quite tidy as well. Let me zoom out. There we go. I'm quite pleased with that. That was it fought me a little bit, especially, well, it didn't help that I took out two chips that I didn't need to because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing, and then it really didn't help that my parts boards had a load of faulty chips on them as well when I was looking for replacements. But that's, you know, that's the risk you run when you buy parts boards, I suppose. So hey, but we got there in the end, and it all seems to work fine. So I'll probably go and have another game of Zip Zap or something now. But I will say, as always, thank you for watching. And I don't just say that; I do appreciate it. I really do. You're a nice community, so I do enjoy engaging with you. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one, and enjoy whatever it is you're off to do. Bye.